We're live. Let me go tweet. I'm just gonna be Disability Pride Month stream live now. I tried to use the OBS auto captioning, but I'm not sure if it works. Post. And I'm gonna record it, so if the OBS captioning doesn't work, I can just do it manually later, eventually. One day. Okay. On the YouTube, in the description, I have all the links to all the different blogs I read, and my sources, I guess. I don't really have like a lot of like academic juicier sources for this. A lot of it's like blogs and disabled people being like, hey, could you please treat us like this? And that's what I got. That's what I've got. So let me get both my chats open. Hi. I'm gonna put no. Feel free to chat and ask questions. Supposed to be chill and educational. And I'll do a little smiley face, because who doesn't like a smiley face? And I'm gonna copy it. I'm gonna pin it. No stream prep. None. No stream prep. Oh, that's why I copy paste, to make sure Twitch isn't doing anything crazy, okay? I don't want their weird emotes. Manually unpinned or end of stream. Perfect. I didn't really plan this for having my avatar in the way. I hope all the text is legible. I've talked about my OBS preview being like 2 pixels before. Whoop. I ran away from you guys. Okay. So I guess I'm just gonna get started. And it ends when the presentation ends, if nobody has any questions. Which, you know, make me depressed. Make me upset. But it's fine. So, hi! Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to my Disability Pride Month live stream. I'm Daisy Whoops. That's me. I'm 23 years old. I'm an artist. I'm a VTuber. I'm currently attending art school. And I wanted to make this presentation and do something for Disability Pride Month because I'm a person living within an indivisible disability. Woo! Woo! Yeah! I have CPTSD. I have complex childhood PTSD. Which honestly is a pain in my hiney a lot of the times. I'm incredibly socially awkward, incredibly anxious. My body cannot tell the difference between, you know, somebody looking at me funny and being hunted for sport. So that's always fun. And I live with it. I personally benefit from the ADA. I'm not going to go into details here, but I have accommodations in school and at work because of the ADA. So Disability Pride Month and, you know, raising awareness about disability rights and the Americans with Disabilities Act is important to me. And I wanted to do something for this month, and I didn't really know what to do because, like, I have, like, 17 subscribers on YouTube, which, hey, we're growing. We're growing. 17 whole people. But obviously, you can't really raise a lot of money from 17 people. Even though I am grateful for all of you, you just can't. There's nothing wrong with that, you just... So I thought, you know, kind of making this presentation and having it on my channel and, you know, having it as a resource out there would be more useful than raising like 40 bucks. My water. Yummy, yummy. I really hope the auto captioning is working. But it doesn't let me see it on OBS. So, so I'm just gonna hope that works. So yeah, that's who I am. That's why it's important for me. I did want to like keep this content evergreen, but considering the things that this administration is wanting to do with cutting back the ADA and institutionalizing disabled people. Let me just I thought it would be, you know, a good idea. That kind of happened after I finished the PowerPoint. So this is general information, but yeah, it's more important now than ever. So let's get to it. So why Disability Pride Month matters. I'm gonna move myself. Ooh, right there. Hi. So this is a picture from the Capitol Crawl, which was one piece of activism of many from the 1950s onward to the 1990s, where the idea behind the activism was to kind of physically show what was needed instead of just, you know, speaking in assembly. So the idea of having disabled people who were wheelchair users, who had mobility issues, literally crawl up the steps of the Capitol, it was a very poignant message. And this wasn't like the first demonstration of its kind. Hi, thank you for the follow. You are on my OBS, so I actually could not see your username. Oh! Wait, hold up. I got this. I'm a VTuber. I'm a VTuber! Thank you! JGXISCGMCF. Thank you for the follow. Really hope you're not a bot. So yeah, this wasn't like the first demonstration of its kind, but it's definitely the most famous, and was accredited to pressuring, was it Clinton? Was it Clinton who passed the ADA, or was it Bush? Wait, hold up. Who passed the ADA? It was Bush. On July 26th, today! Ah! That was a happy little coincidence. I actually retweeted something about this earlier, but I didn't plan that. That was not planned at all. It was past July 26th today! How fun. So yeah, within disability rights activism, there has been, a history of activists either abandoning their mobility aids or having their mobility aids taken away from them. But the most famous example of this type of activism, and the one accredited to the passing of the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA, is the Capitol Crawl. I got a picture here for you guys. I tried not to get a picture with a kid. I talk about this later, but because there were more pictures and there were pictures with children. And a lot of the is the next slide the inspiration porn slide? Wait. No. Wait. Shoot. Okay. And those pictures were very, very inspiration porny. So I tried to deliberately look for an image with adults, which was really hard, actually. I found a lot of articles that were like, you think you're an activist? This little girl got out of her wheelchair and climbed up 26 flights of stairs, rah, and it's okay. Please stop. You're not helping anybody with this. And I'll talk about that later. So, one of the main goals... Oh my goodness. I did a silly. And I didn't make space for myself. So I'm gonna just be right here. Hi guys. I'm right here now. So one of the main focuses of disability rights and disability activism is the idea of equality versus equity. So equality is providing everybody with the same resources and opportunities regardless of individual circumstances. And this, sets the ground rules for creating a fair playing field. You can't have fairness without equality. Equity is ensuring everybody has access to the same opportunities by providing different levels of support based on specific needs. For example, let's say you have two children who both are going to public school, right? And let's say one child is neurotypical and one child is neurodivergent. If you stick them in the same classroom with the same resources, that's equality. Yeah, but one child, the neurotypical child, is probably going to do a lot better than the neurodivergent child in that environment. The neurodivergent child might get overstimulated, might need, assistance communicating, might need somebody there to watch, to, care for them and advocate that for them and be there, or might need additional educational assistance, which is where equity comes in. We get it. So our goal for today, obviously, I don't think in a single stream I can be I can fix the equality equity issue in the United States. I don't think that's gonna happen. So our goal today is to educate about respectful interactions and inclusion for all disabilities. Mobility, sensory, neurodivergent, chronic illnesses, etc., etc. Part of that is understanding that in order to be equitable, you need to go a little above and beyond. Taking a sip of my water, above and beyond just ensuring everybody has the same resources. You know, and being like, I just treat everyone the same. So, understanding ableism, and like, I really did not give myself room to like be here. Let me just like, I'm gonna peek up at you guys. Understanding ableism and language. So ableism is the belief that people with disabilities are inferior to non-disabled people. It's a broad, I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. Ah. I'm gonna blow my nose. Wait, let me mute myself. There we go. So ableism is the belief that people with disabilities are inferior to non-disabled people. It's a broad system of power that dehumanizes disabled people and underlies much insensitive language. So what does that mean? Ableism in general is a wider system of power that negatively affects disabled people. But it kind of just, you know, in a non-systemic way, rears itself through our language and our behavior. So, couple of tips. Avoid infantilizing. Do not treat disabled people like children. Infantilization is used to justify discriminatory systems. It's used to justify, you know, institutionalizing people against their will. And, you know, justify things like giving disabled people a sub-minimum wage because, well, you know, they can't do the same work as an able-bodied person. That's the type of thing infantilization leads to. So, disabled people, disabled adults are adults. Do not treat disabled people like children. You know, watch your language. We use lots of ableist, sanist terms in our everyday lives, and I'm not just talking about like the R slur, which has been making a comeback. God help us all, it has been making a comeback. But, and I do this one a lot, using crazy to mean wild or unbelievable. I do that like every day of my life. So, you know, watch your language. Watch your language. Don't call people crazy when you disagree with them. Don't, you know, ask somebody if they've got a disability because they said something you find to be unintelligent or uninformed. Don't hit people with the "have you taken your meds today?" Especially if it's in an argument. If it's like a person you know in real life who you're like genuinely asking, that's one thing, but like in an argument, I was making sure I was unmuted. Like in an argument where somebody's just saying something stupid and you're like, have you taken your meds today? Don't do that. Don't do that, guys. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Skip the euphemisms. I don't want to see anybody saying handy capable or differently able, especially handy capable, brother, or differently abled. Using a euphemism carries the implication that a disability is something that is taboo or is something to be ashamed of. And that's, for most disabled people, even if it's not something that they're necessarily proud of, I'm going to be honest with you, I wouldn't describe myself as necessarily proud of having, like, CPTSD. Like, I'm not proud of, having panic attacks because of loud noises. But I'm not, handy capable either. And, a lot of adults especially, like, it feels like, it's kind of like insulting. It's condescending. It's like, no, I'm just disabled. Like, that's just reality. So, person first versus identity first language. Key rule, I put it down here because I forgot that I had my anime girl. I forgot all about the anime girl. I'm just gonna be upside down. There we go. Perfect fit. So person first versus identity first language. So person first language is person with a disability, person who is blind. You're putting, personhood first, and then the disability is a descriptor. So it emphasizes the individual before the disability. And most people will recommend this as, like, your default. Identity first language, however, is disabled person, deaf person. And it's preferred by some groups who see disability as part of their identity, particularly deaf people and, like, deaf culture. That's most deaf people I've, ran into on the internet and in this space, prefer identity first language and, identify deafness as part of their cultural identity. But the key rule, and this is the key rule for everything, ask and listen. Do not prioritize what the anime girl on the internet is saying to you over the real flesh and blood human beings you meet in your life. If you call somebody a person with a disability or a person who's blind and they say, hey, I'm a blind person, listen to the blind person. If somebody says, I want to be referred to this way, then do that. Don't make it a fight, don't make it an argument, just do it. So the inspiration myth, I do have room here. The inspiration myth, I'm gonna be right here with Stella. Me and Stella, hi girl. So this is Stella Young, writer, comedian, and disability activist. She has passed away, unfortunately, but I did end up reading a lot of her blog posts for this presentation. Drinking my water, I'm sorry. Including the one where she actually coined the phrase inspiration porn, written in 2012. So this is Stella Young. Say hi. Everybody say hi to Stella. So what is inspiration porn? So it's a term coined by Stella Young to describe when disabled people are portrayed as inspirational just for living everyday life. Why is this damaging? Why should we avoid this? Because it suggests that disabled people's lives are terrible. To put it frankly, It suggests that disabled people's lives are terrible. And that it takes, you know, some sort of extra level of courage to live those lives. And, you know, for a lot of disabled people, this is kind of offensive. Because it's like, you're just assuming their life is terrible. It also objectifies disabled people. And instead of viewing them as, you know, a human being made in the image of God, it views them as like this benchmark that non-disabled people can point to and be like, well, at least I'm not that. Which, I just don't think that's how we should treat people. I don't think that's how anybody should be treated. And, you know, I think it also leads to it leads to this sort of like faux activism where people will be like, well, I posted a picture of a girl with prosthetics running and I had an inspirational quote on top of it, so I did an activism. And it's like, you really didn't. That doesn't materially help anybody. And it most certainly doesn't materially help any disabled people. So, now onto the specific etiquette portions. Oh, wait, because I remembered now that I was talking about this, about the Capitol crawl. A lot of it, I saw a lot of like inspiration porn about the Capitol crawl where they'd use the same image of this little girl crawling up the steps. I think it was a little girl. And they'd be like, you Twitter activist. Oh, you online person, you think you're doing a real activism. Look at her. That's inspiration porn. And it's kind of like everywhere when you talk about disabilities. And also, before I change the slide again, another thing is if you like put yourself in that person's shoes, it's kind of awkward, right? Like, she talks about this, Stella Young, in her blog post that I linked. She talks about this. She's like, what am I supposed to say to somebody who looks at me on public transport and says, you inspire me, when I'm just doing the same thing that you're doing, getting on public transport and going to work? What am I supposed to say? You too? There isn't really like a response to that. And the reason there isn't a response is because that behavior it's because inspiration porn is not for disabled people. It's for able people. It's for able people to feel better about themselves. That's the purpose of it. Oh, brother. Let me get rid of this. Let me get rid of this guy. Ban him. Report him. He was trying to give me viewers. I don't want viewers. Sell me viewers. Get him. Oh, my model's freaking out. Get him, Twitch. Attack. Submit report. Block. Close. Anyway. So, physical disabilities. Mobility. Using affirming language. I really should have put neutral language because I don't think I think affirming was the wrong word. Oh, whoops. So say wheelchair user instead of confined to a wheelchair or wheelchair bound. It's just like more neutral. Because saying something's like confined to a wheelchair, like if you think about like what the word confined means or what the word bound means, that means to like be tied up, right? So it's just kind of like, it's one of those things that people say and they don't like mean to be offensive, but it is kind of impolite. Emphasize accessibility, not disability, so call it accessible parking, not handicapped parking, accessible bathroom, not handicapped bathroom, etc. Respect personal space. Hi. My mom was here. See ya. Respect personal space. Ask before offering help. It's not hard. Just, may I help you? Let me know if you need anything. Never touch or move mobility devices without permission. They're an extension of the person's body. Just don't do it. I mean, imagine if you were a wheelchair user and some rando that you like do not know. You don't know this person. Rando off the street, and yeah, maybe you're struggling, maybe you're, maybe you do need help. Some rando off the street just grabs your chair and starts pushing you. Me personally, I'd have a panic attack and start screaming that I was kidnapped. Like, I'm not even being dramatic here. Like, I would be screaming, crying, like, he's trying to take me away. I'd be like getting bear spray from my bag, like, I would not respond to that well. So ask. Eye level communication. Try to meet at eye level. Sit or crouch when talking with somebody in a wheelchair. Attached to that is to choose comfortable conversation spaces that reduce physical distance. And especially like if you're having like a long-term conversation, finding somewhere you can sit too so that you're both just sitting and eye level will be a lot more convenient for you. The wheelchair user, they're sitting. The wheelchair user's sitting, they're fine. You're the one who's there crouched down and you're gonna feel it in your hammies. It's not gonna be fun. So yeah, finding a comfortable conversation spot where you can sit down might be helpful. You can also always just ask if they mind. If you just stand while you talk, whatever, like it's not that big of a deal. Deaf and hard of hearing etiquette. So I have this nice little deaf culture visual. I should have put where I got it from. Got this nice little deaf culture visual of all different, parts of deaf culture. Deaf history, American Sign Language, deaf schools, home and living, children of deaf adults, technology, deaf arts, storytelling, values, behaviors. So, I'm going to put myself on top of the picture now. Number 1, get attention first. You're going to wave your hand, tap lightly on the shoulder before speaking. Speak normally, not loudly. Increasing your volume probably isn't going to help. And face them directly. It's easier to do lip reading and facial cues if the person speaking to you is directly facing you. If there's an interpreter, direct your words at the person, not the interpreter. You are speaking to the person, not the interpreter. This is one of those like infantilization things, where it kind of implies like, oh, you're not the real adult here. The real adult is the interpreter. So direct your words to the person, not the interpreter. Provide captions or transcripts for videos when possible. That's what I tried to do. I don't know if it works. Nobody's responded telling me if my captions work. So I put sorry, no captions. And I'm very sorry. I'm very, very sorry. But yeah. Try to put on captions if you can. OBS has like this auto caption thing. And it says it's enabled, but like it's not showing it. So I don't really know if it's enabled. But, you know, try to put captions on things. I'm recording this, so I'll be able to like, I'm gonna like clip it and, you know, cut out all this editorializing and put captions on the clips. So the clips will 100% for sure have captions. And then, and this is kind of a big, I should have done it in one of those boxes, acknowledging deaf culture. Many deaf people consider ASL, which is American Sign Language. This is very America focused, I'm sorry, but I'm sure this applies to other countries as well. Consider ASL their native language and deaf identity as cultural. So deaf, capital D, is for community and culture, and deaf, lowercase d, is when referring to audiology or like the condition. If that makes sense, right? So yes, deaf culture, very important. Blind and low in vision etiquette. Introduce yourself. Say hi, and then say who you are. When approaching, and announce when you're leaving a conversation. Just kind of, you know, doesn't have to be awkward, doesn't have to be like, hello, blind person, I'm going now. Like just be like, oh, you know, hi, I'm Daisy. Nice talking to you guys, but I'm gonna go now, bye. And not just like walk away, which I do a lot. Walk away from conversations. Ugh. Offer guidance. Again, don't just guide people without asking. Do not just grab a blind or low vision person. Again, just empathy. Put yourself in this person's shoes. Like, if you were blind and somebody that you don't know who they are grabs you and starts like guiding you somewhere, you know, I'd be a little freaked out. So, you know, offer your arm or shoulder. Don't just grab them. You know, ask them if they want you to guide them around. Describe your surroundings clearly. Over there is not a description. Is it to the left? Is it to the right? Is it straight ahead? Where's, you know, whatever, a door, a table. You know, I know Cubans do this a lot. My mom does this a lot, where instead of like telling me if I'm gonna bump into something, she'll go, up, 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 up. Don't do that. You know, instead of going, up, 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 hey, you know, you're gonna hit the table. Even if that isn't descriptive, you know, try to work on it. Like, the table's right in front of you. And respect working at. I changed the picture. I can't believe I did that. I changed the picture. I put an image description, but I changed the picture. The image description says a person using refreshable braille display, one of many assistive technologies, which is what I had before, but like I didn't think the picture was like very clear. So I changed it last minute, and I didn't change the caption. Brilliant, I know. Exactly what you expect from this channel. So this is a person using a walking stick to guide themselves. walking in the, crossing the street. But I forgot to change it. That's so funny. I wonder if I did that with any of the other ones. Oh, let's find out. Let's find out. And lastly, respect working animals. I understand the dog is cute. Do not pet the dog. They're working. That dog is very important. Always ask before interacting with an assistance animal. And if an assistance animal comes to you with no person to ask, then you've got to follow that animal because that person probably needs help. Non-apparent and chronic illness etiquette. Some look like this. I'm going to put myself right here because I have an invisible disability. Yay! Some look like this! Yay! How to be supportive. Respect people's privacy. Do not play detective. Do you know how many people I've had in my life who have tried to like armchair diagnose me? Or have tried to like figure out what's wrong with me? It sucks. It's annoying. It's none of your business. Be flexible about breaks, fatigue, and accessible seating needs. If somebody says that they need breaks often or experience fatigue, be flexible about that. Support accommodations proactively. Dim lights. Allow fudge tools. Provide snacks for blood sugar maintenance. Provide snacks for blood sugar maintenance is a big one. But supporting accommodations proactively helps isolate the person who needs the accommodations a little bit less, because instead of this being like a change of pace that everybody knows, oh, there's somebody in here, that's got a disability, it's kind of just like already part of the rules. And remember, the person who you're talking to knows their body the best. You don't know anybody's body better than they do. And you can ask, may I help? You can, But again, don't tell them what they need. You don't know what they need. You can ask if you can assist them, but you don't know what they need. Many disabilities aren't outwardly visible. That includes chronic pain, diabetes, epilepsy, mental health conditions, and autism. Never assume health or ability based on appearance. Somebody who looks fine might be struggling. So yeah. Neurodivergent etiquette. Whee! I'm gonna put myself right here. Right here. Gotta have a Temple Grandin quote in there. I'm sorry, but I gotta be a little cheesy, guys. Gotta be a little cheesy with Temple Grandin. She has a great TED Talk. There's like a movie about her life. I haven't seen it, but there's a movie about her life. Super cool lady, autism activist, advocate. She made like these like cattle systems to like help transport cattle comfortably. So, rule number 1, accept different communication. Some people might not maintain eye contact, have unique patterns, or use stimming for comfort. Just roll with the punches. Just adapt to it, just accept it, and move on. Clear communication. Speak clearly and briefly. Visual aids or written notes can help. Avoid sarcasm or idioms that might be taken literally. Again, this is something where it's like you're adapting to somebody else's communication style. And if you get that this person, doesn't really get sarcasm, Do your best to not use sarcasm. And respect boundaries, which, you know, honestly, I think we should just be respecting everybody's boundaries. But, you know, ask before touching or hugging somebody. Many neurodivergent people do not like unexpected touch. Embracing neurodiversity means appreciating the diverse ways in which individuals think, learn, and experience the world. Society should focus on understanding and accepting neurodivergent individuals rather than trying to cure them. Yeah, that's it. We don't, you know, there is nothing to cure. Just because somebody, you know, processes the world and information in a different way doesn't mean that they are inferior or need to be cured. And, you know, if you can't adapt to the way that person communicates, maybe that's a bit of a skill issue on your part. Maybe it has nothing to do with them and, you know, a lot more to do with you. Do's and don'ts quick guide. Do's and don'ts quick guide. So I'm actually going to start with the bottom, which is about checking your intentions. Try to avoid using accessible parking and bathrooms if you can. If you really gotta go and you just can't hold it, and the accessible bathroom is the only one you need, go quickly. Go in. Don't wash your hands in there. Wash your hands in the outside sinks with everybody else. And, you know, try to keep that free for a wheelchair user or somebody with mobility issues who would need that bathroom. You know, avoid the accessible parking space, using the accessible parking space if you can. Don't do it just because you need to run in there real quick. You know, if it's an emergency and that's your last option, you know, be quick about it. But, you know, try not to use accessible parking, accessible bathrooms that aren't really meant for you. And a follow-up on that, especially since we were just kind of talking about invisible disabilities. Don't be an a-hole about strangers. If it's somebody you know, that's different, but like strangers that you don't know using accessible parking or accessible bathrooms just because they don't look disabled to you. You know, you can only really check your own intentions and know your own heart. So don't, you know, don't give grief to somebody just because they don't look disabled enough to be using that parking space. I air quotes around disabled enough. My hand tracking doesn't work on this because of my bad webcam, but those are big air quotes around that. So, you know, focus on what you're doing. Don't, you know, I'm somebody that, like, policing other people, especially, like, just random strangers, probably not a good idea. So, do's and don'ts guide. Do. Number 1, very important. Treat disabled people as individuals. Individuals. And not just their disability. Make eye contact. Be friendly. They don't bite. You know, laugh and joke if they do. Follow their lead. If you're like, you know, awkward and you've got like a stick up your butt because you don't want to offend this person and they're, you know, joking and laughing about being a wheelchair user or being blind or whatever, just, you know, joke and laugh with them. Just make sure that, you know, you're not the one making jokes at their expense, especially when you don't really know them like that. And be mindful about your intentions when interacting. I know there are some people who are like, well, I want to be friends with a disabled person because then I can learn a lot. Or, you know, I want to be friends with a disabled person because it'd be cool to have a friend with a wheelchair. And it's like, that's not really the reason you should be friends with anybody. It's kind of like saying, you know, oh, I want to be friends with a redhead because, you know, I think it'd be cool to have a friend with red hair. If I were, you know, the redhead in question, I'd be offended because I'm like, not my personality, not, you know, not my interest or all the things we have in common. My hair? It's kind of, you know, the same thing. Check your intentions. Don't just try to befriend somebody because you feel bad or you want them to educate you or you think, you know, it's, you know, cool to have the token person with a wheelchair be your friend. Do not infantilize or patronize with baby talk or, you know, little sing-song voice. Oh, sweetie, you need anything? No, don't do that. Do not get offended for them, especially if they say it's okay. You are not the gatekeeper of what does and does not offend disabled people. You're not. And, you know, if the disabled person you're with says it's okay, then it's okay. Don't use facilities meant for people with disabilities out of convenience. I already talked about this one, but yes. And do not befriend people for social points or expect them to educate you. Befriend people because you want to be their friend. Ally and bystander tips. So we're again going to start with the bottom. Being an ally is the bare minimum. Shocking. Shocker, I know. Being an ally is the bare minimum, guys. Ah! Yeah. And it does not make you immune to criticism. When disabled people express you might be exhibiting ableist behavior, don't get defensive. Listen, make meaningful changes. A little bit of criticism is not the end of the world. I promise you, God will not strike you down with a lightning bolt. I promise. So being an ally does not make you immune to criticism. Did I include, wait, real quick. Oh my goodness, I didn't talk about lateral ableism. I didn't talk about lateral ableism. That includes disabled people trying to be allied to people with other disabilities. That lateral ableism, which is disabled people being ableist against other disabled people with different disabilities, it's real. You can do it. I've probably done it. So yeah. Number 1, listen and learn. Educate yourself on disability issues, history, and language. You're here, you've already doing that step. Good job. Be proactive in learning rather than asking disabled friends to teach you everything. Again, our friends are not, you know, are not the only resource we have. We live in the era of the internet. You can do research yourself. Speak up. If someone uses an ableist slur or joke, politely correct them and say, that's not cool. Do it in a calm way. And the reason I say, but do it in a calm way, is because a lot of the times, if you start screaming, then that person will start screaming, and then you're just having a screaming match, and nobody really learned anything. And number 3, create inclusive spaces. Encourage accessible features in events/streams. Like captions on videos. Ugh. I'm uhing because I still don't know if the OBS captions work. Ugh. Moderators who understand accessibility. This is more true in real life than it is like a Twitch mod. So like moderators that understand, oh, people will need breaks, or, you know, oh, accessible seating, that's how that works. And just asking up front if people need accommodations. Common myths. Here's some fact checking. I'll be sideways this time. Oop. That's not my rotation. That's my rotation. Oop. I'll be sideways this time. I'll be right here. Myth. All people with disabilities are alike. Bah. Disabled people have diverse backgrounds, personalities, needs, and preferences. Each person is unique. Again, this is kind of like saying all blondes are alike, all redheads are alike. This is just not true. Myth. All disabilities are visible. No. Many disabilities are invisible, including chronic pain, learning differences, mental health conditions. Never assume somebody's health just from their appearance. And myth. Number 3, our final one, disabled people need pity or charity. Most disabled people want equal opportunity and inclusion, not pity. They take pride in their identity and want fair treatment. They want equity, not pity. They want, you know, ramps so they can get into buildings, not pity. They want people to wear COVID masks so that they can go out without, you know, dying from COVID, not pity. Call to action and resources. Another thing I forgot to put on the slide, but wear a COVID mask. Wear a COVID mask. Mask up. I don't know where I'm going to put myself. I'm going to put myself right back to where I was. Wear a mask. Especially in like airports, train stations, wear a mask. COVID is real. COVID kills people, wear a mask. Be an everyday ally. Caption your videos, add alt text to images. Speak up when you notice accessibility barriers. If you see a place, if you see a building that maybe needs a ramp, and you're part of that community, or you see places where, you know, we need some physical accessibility, some, you know, yellow bumpy little transition plates from the sidewalk to the street. Speak up, talk to your local government. Support disabled creators and amplify their voices. Share what you've learned using disability pride. Helpful resources. These are resources I used in my YouTube. I also have links to everything. So the World Institute on Disability, the MacPack Foundation, TED Talks by Stella Young and Temple Grandin, and local disability advocacy groups. Just look in your area. If you Google disability advocacy group in your area, something is sure to come up. Thank you for joining me today. I had a lot of fun. Thank you for joining me for my presentation, and I hope that we can, you know, keep this conversation going and, you know, talk about disability and accessibility and advocate for people with disabilities every day of the year, not just July 26th or in July. That's it, right? Yes, that's it. So thank you all for joining me. I've had a great time. I hope you all learned something.